Hey guys, it's Kimberly. How you doing today? I'm excited about being here today, but I have to admit, I'm probably the most nervous I have ever been doing a Facebook Live because I feel like today I'm going to be super transparent and super open about the things that I've been through. And my heart is kind of racing a little bit. It's kind of strange. And I think it's because, as a health coach, I live in this world where I'm helping people to, find their health and wellness so they can pursue their passion and purpose. And I feel like I try to walk the walk, do exactly what it is that I'm, telling people to do. I don't ever want to live in a state of hypocrisy or being of a place where this is not the path that I'm walking, right? So when things come at me like illness, a lot of times I don't really share, or I feel like I, want to hide that I don't feel good because I walk in this world of trying to help other people feel good and live their best lives. Well, how I got into health coaching had to do with not feeling my best and ended up having a really horrible, situation where I had hives all over my body. Didn't know what was wrong, and I had something that was called C. difficile. They had given it to me for a sinus infection, and that sinus infection was something that rocked my world. And then my stomach never got better, and this was I guess 11 years ago, and I ended up going through years and years of having issues digestively. And the doctors ended up wanting to give me medication. And I was just like, they said, of course, I had IBS. And I was like, okay, IBS is a syndrome. This is how I got into health coaching. Not because I've been this healthy person all the time and my life is just full of great stuff. I needed answers. And so I started researching nutrition and diet changes and things like that. And this was, I guess, maybe about 7 years ago. And I started healing my gut, right? Well, as time went on, I started going back to school and learning about nutrition and all of that kind of stuff. Well, what happens when you do that? Great, a new career has opened up to me, right? And so I then found out last year, and some people may or may not know, there was a post that I had last year where I really looked like I was sick. I can almost go back and find it. I think it was like December 18th of 2016, and I had this tooth pulled. And it was from a root canal that had been done horribly, but I've come to find out that all root canals are done horribly most of the time, because there's a book called The Root of Disease, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But this situation, I ended up pulling the tooth, and then my whole body changed, in the sense that I used to not be able to eat gluten. I can tolerate gluten. I had, issues with my gut that went away, my digestive system, things that I had been fighting years to overcome changed. So fast forward to about 5 weeks ago, and all of a sudden I started feeling pain in my face again. And I was like, there's a tooth issue, right? So I ended up going to the dentist. They took an x-ray. Nothing. No, everything's fine. Great. Your tooth is great. All right. So another week went by, and I was like, something still is going on. No, everything is fine. You're good, Kim. Okay. Maybe you have TMJ. That's what we have. So I start wearing, the bite plate. I'm doing my thing. And the next thing you know, my tooth, my face is starting to feel worse, things are getting worse. So they were like, well, you can take a muscle relaxant. You know me, I'm not one to do that. So I'm like, let me use some of my oils and do things. And nothing is still going away. Pain is increasing more and more and more. So I end up they said, why don't you go get a CAT scan done? Maybe it's something with your sinuses and your ear canal and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm like, all right, let me go see what's transpiring in this particular way. And I end up just going to the doctor first. And that doctor ends up telling me that I have trigeminal neuralgia. Trigeminal neuralgia. Okay. So I'm at that point in time researching this, and it's like nerve pain, and she wants to put me on nerve medication. This nerve medication can cause seizures in people. It can cause all kinds of things that aren't there. And my spirit was like, do not do this. As a health coach, I'm like, we haven't done any blood testing. Nothing has happened. We're just going to give me this medication. All right, so I listen once again and advocate for my health. I'm not going to do this. So then I go to another doctor. Okay, your sinuses are really inflamed on this side, so we're gonna like put you on Flonase. So I tried Flonase as a steroid. I felt horrible in the morning, like almost like I couldn't stay awake. It was just weird. I was really inflamed. You can even see it in some pictures that I've taken recently. And I was like, wow, like this is not good for me. So I stopped taking that. And then they were like, well, I think you may have a sinus infection deep down in there. So we're going to give you an antibiotic. So I start taking the antibiotic. Nothing is helping. I mean, I'm talking about intense face pain, nerve pain, not knowing what's going on. So we're going to fast forward just a little bit. And like I said, I'm kind of being transparent here, but I ended up not knowing what was happening. And then a friend of mine, I posted at one point in time, I got the CAT scan done. Finally got them to do the CAT scan. Everything came back normal. Then they were like, we're going to test you for RA, rheumatoid arthritis, for MS, and for a heart condition that could cause this neuralgia in the face. So I was like, all right, great. These are all scary terms, but Lord, I'm going to pray. I'm going to believe that if I'm going through this, not for myself, but for someone else that needs the research, because I'm going to research and figure out what's going on. So kept my faith, and then I posted something in a private group of friends, and they said, well, it sounds like you have severe TMJ. So I went to my dentist and I said, hey, can I figure out what's going on with my face? And they ended up saying, like my real dentist came back. I should say the other dentist that kept saying nothing was going on was not my normal dentist. She was out of the country. So I go back, and the one that I trust and talk to a lot was there. And she was like, Kim, let's pulp test all your teeth and not just x-ray them. Well, when she hit the back tooth beside the wisdom tooth up top, I literally was about to punch her in the face. Like literally, the pain was so severe. So I was like, thank you, Jesus, it is a tooth. Of course, now she wants me to get another root canal. Remember, we got to go back to what I said in the beginning. I had an 11-year failed root canal that I had an infection that went almost to my brain last December, right? Perforated my sinus cavity. Horrible. So these are the things that when people are like, oh, Kim, you're a health coach. I have been through things, and I'm researching what's natural to help heal a body and not go to pharmaceuticals. So she said, I want you to have another root canal. I had already done research about the dangers of the root canal. And this is the book I'm recommending people read. It's called, I'm trying to see if you can see it. It's called The Root of Disease, Connecting Dentistry and Medicine. And it talks about how root canals are breeding grounds for bacteria, because there's the main root, but then there are other roots that shoot off from it. And it holds microorganisms of bacteria that seep out into the bloodstream, but you can't get medication in to take it out, like to get rid of the infection. So you're constantly walking around with some state or form of infection, whether it abscess or not is not really the deal. And it can be linked to things like MS or trigeminal neuralgia or other issues in the body that have been systemic, and even, IBS symptoms and autoimmune disorders. I mean, I really highly recommend reading the book if you have an illness you can't really explain and have no idea what's going on. So I was dead set against getting a root canal. And I said, I just want you to pull the tooth. Well, I had to go jump through hoops to talk to the endodontist and anyone else that they wanted me to talk to try to convince me not to do it. But I had evidence to show them what was going on for that. So all I'm trying to tell you is that when you have, Kim Shala, TMJ, I'm sorry, darling. We'll talk really soon live. All right. So we'll talk through that. But what I was saying is, if you have, something going on in a root canal, or someone saying that they want you to have a root canal, really research what it is. So I convinced them, no, I want my tooth pulled. So I finally got my tooth pulled on Tuesday of this week. All my face pain, the neuralgia, everything that I had going on is gone. They were like, oh, here's the medication that you're going to need for the pain. I was like, I'm not in any pain anymore. Like, I literally have been suffering through 5 weeks of intense nerve pain in my face. But had I not taken the time to ask God to be like, is this what this is? At the jump of trigeminal neuralgia and nerve medication, I could have messed myself up. I literally could have. I have a friend who told me that their sister was given nerve medication, didn't need it, and ended up having seizures. I'm like, what I could have done with all of the medications and all of the the conjecture and the nerve relaxers and or the muscle relaxants and things like that would have been given to me could have been detrimental to me in the long run. I have to say, one of the things I've been praying about was I did take a lot of pain medication because unfortunately the amount of pain that I was in and what was going on, the essential oils and the things that I used didn't cut it enough. It was to the place where I had to function. So I was praying for my kidneys and my liver the whole time, and now I'm going to start doing a detox, and I'm going to start having somebody do a lymphatic massage on me through extract. Her name's Tamara. And so all I'm trying to say is that there are ways and things that we can do to help ourselves naturally. And yes, Western medicine is important and helpful. And anyone on here who's watching, who's a doctor and a nurse and a dentist, I praise God for you guys and the level of study that you've been through. But my plight and what I want to say to everybody is please, please, please be your own advocate. Do your research. Hire someone like me or someone who cares about understanding, or ask your cousin who's a nerd, or whatever you got to do to get to the bottom of certain things, not just glossing it over, because honestly none of those that wasn't the root. If you have a root canal and you feel like you have no answers in your mouth, and you may need to get it removed. Honestly, I told my dentist, I said, I'd rather walk around with dentures and have all my teeth removed than to have something going on as an autoimmune disease, as opposed to not releasing something out of quote unquote cosmetics. So I'm just letting you guys know, I'm not going to stay on here too long. I told my story in a nutshell. There's so much more, but I told my story in a nutshell about how I was told, you have this, you have that, you have this. And throughout my life, if I had not taken the time to advocate for myself and to ask questions and to figure out what was best and most natural for my body, to this day, it could be horrible. Like when I think of the path that I could have gone down. So I say to you guys, take action, ask questions, don't go with the first answer that's given to you. Read this book if you've got some unexplained stuff going on. And I would tell you for sure to, just share this information with others. Tell people who are going through things to not just settle for the first answer, because it's not always the best. Because 11 years ago, had I not taken the path to not take IBS medication, and I had taken it, I would have all these systemic things going on underneath, and it would just mask the symptoms. And so that's how I kind of got into health coaching. Like I said, thanks for taking a second to listen. I hope you guys share this with other people. And if you have any questions, remember always to reach out to me. I am here for you. And peace and blessings. Remember to share the joy. This video is joy to someone because it could be an answer. So peace and blessings once again, and have a great, great weekend.